In this section, we're going to be solving more systems of equations, but they're going to look a tad bit different. So for example, the first one we're going to do is x squared plus y squared equal to 1, 4x plus 3y is equal to 0. So if you notice here, it's still kind of the same thing, but now we have x squares and y squareds, versus before all we had was x's and y's. There's never any like squares or powers or whatever. So what we're going to do in this one is we'll be using the method of substitution. And so what we're going to do is pick the equation that's the most simple. So this one down here, this one doesn't have any squareds like this one, so this one's going to be easier to work with. Then we're just going to choose a variable to solve for. So let's take this equation. And let's just choose to solve for y. So we can subtract the 4x over, divide by the 3. Okay, so we get y is equal to minus 4 over 3x. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our complicated equation and plug this one in. So let's take the, we do that right here. So our x squared plus y squared equal to 1. And now let's take this y and plug it in here. So we're going to get x squared plus minus 4 over 3x squared equals 1. So all we're doing is replacing this y with minus 4 over 3x. So this is the same thing as x squared plus, we have 16 over 9. X squared is equal to 1. Remember, we're getting rid of this minus sign because we're squaring it. Okay? But here, see, we can, x squared here, let's factor out the x squared. So we have x squared, 1 plus 16 over 9. So again, this x squared times 1, there's this x squared. X squared times 16 over 9, that's that piece right there, that equals 1. We can add these two numbers together, that's going to be x squared, and then we'll have 25 over 9 equals 1. And then what we can do is we can move this, let's multiply this side by 9 over 25. 9 over 25. So on this left-hand side, the 9's cancel, the 25's cancel, we just have x squared. And on the right-hand side, we just have 1 times 9 over 25, which is 9 over 25. And then what we can do is square root both sides, so we get x is equal to plus minus square root of 9 over 25. But the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 25 is 5, so we get x is equal to plus minus 3 over 5. Okay, so there's half of our answer. So now what we need to do is first, so we have two answers for x. So we need to pick one of those answers, we'll plug it into this equation, then we'll pick the other answer and plug it into this equation, and we're going to get two values for y. So let's start with x equals 3 over 5. And let's choose the easy equation to plug it into. So doing that, this equation, we're going to get 4 times 3 over 5 plus 3y is equal to 0. So we want to solve for y here. This is 12 over 5 plus 3y equal to 0. Subtract the thing over, we're going to get 3y is equal to minus 12 over 5. We divide by the 3, y is equal to minus 12 over 15. And we can simplify that, that's minus 4 over 5. So we see when x is 3 over 5, y is minus 4 over 5. So we get this answer, 3 over 5 minus 4 over 5. So here's one of our answers. So here's x and here's y. So now let's do the same thing with our other point. We just did this for x equals 3 over 5. We need to do that for x equals minus 3 over 5 as well. So now for x equals minus 3 over 5. Do the same thing, we're going to get 4 minus 3 over 5. Just plugging the x in for right here, then plus 3y equals 0. Okay, so here is minus 12 over 5 plus 3y is equal to 0. Add that piece over, we get 3y is equal to 12 over 5. And then divide by the 3. Sorry, we're running out of room here. If we divide by the 3, we're going to get y is equal to 12 over 15, which equals 4 over 5. So when x is minus 3 over 5, y is 4 over 5. So then we get this other answer, minus 3 over 5, 4 over 5. Okay, so for this problem, we get two answers. We get this pair, here's our x, here's our y, and we also get this pair, here's our x and here's our y. Okay, now let's move on to the next example. So the last example from this section, xy is equal to 3 squared is equal to 10. So for this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to take our top equation, the xy equals 3, and just choose a variable to solve for. Let's solve for a y again. Just divide the x over. Y is equal to 3 over x. Okay? And now what we can do is plug this y into this equation down here. So we're going to have x squared plus 3 over x squared equals 10. All we did here is replace this y with 3 over x. So this is x squared plus 9 over x squared equal to 10. And now let's do something to get rid of this fraction. What we're going to do is multiply this entire problem by x squared. So doing that, we're going to have an x squared times an x squared. That's an x to the 4th. The x squared times this x squared cancels, so we just have a plus 9. Now an x squared times 10, that's 10x squared. Okay? And now what we're going to do is set this equation equal to 0, so we're going to move this 10x squared over. So we're going to have x to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. So now this is a problem that we solved in an earlier section. So we need to use this like u substitution method. So when we have a problem like this where we have an x to the 4th, an x squared, a number, and then 0, we let u equal x squared. And if we squared both sides, we get u squared is equal to x to the 4th. So we're going to replace these x's with u's for a second, which is going to give us u squared minus 10u plus 9 is equal to 0. So here, this x to the 4th, that's another way of saying u squared. This x squared is just another way of saying u, and then we have a 9. So we can solve this one easily. We could factor this. This is u minus 1, u minus 9 equals 0, u equals 1, u equals 9. Again, we don't want to know what u is, we want to know what x is. U is x squared, so this means x squared is equal to 1, x squared is equal to 9, and this tells us that x is equal to plus minus 1, x is equal to plus minus 3, just from taking the square root of both sides. Okay, so now for this problem, we're going to have, you see we're going to have 4 answers. We have x is 1, x is minus 1, x is 3, x is minus 3. So we have to do that same thing in the previous problem, but for now these 4 answers. So let's start when x is equal to 1. Let's just choose this easy equation to plug it into. When x is 1, we're going to have 1 times y equal to 3, which just tells us that y is equal to 3. So we have the point 1 comma 3. Again, we're plugging into this top equation right here. So you see we have x, y is equal to 3, but when x is 1, that's 1 times y is equal to 3. 1 times y is equal to 3, but that just means y is 3. Okay, now let's move on to x equals minus 1. Do the same thing. We're going to have minus 1 times y is equal to 3. Divide the minus 1 over, we get y is equal to minus 3. So we have the point minus 1, minus 3. All right, let's do the next one. X is 3. So same thing, we're going to have 3 times y equal to 3. Well, that just means y is equal to 1. Dividing the 3 over, so we have the point 3 comma 1. All right, so that's good. And now let's do the last one, x equals minus 3. Plug it in, minus 3y equal to 3. Divide the minus 3 over, we get y is equal to minus 1. So then we have the point minus 3 minus 1. All right, so then these are our 4 answers.